It's the attack. I'm your host, Nack. Thanks for tuning in to 6969 AM Nack Radio, here to talk about all of Week 11's exciting fantasy football matchups in the King Pink's Fantasy Football League. But first, let's open it up right to callers. Bing on line one. Bing?
Hi, first-time caller, long-time caller. How many years do you think it'll be before the OLEDs actually finally makes it to the playoffs?
Oh, Bing, caller. We seem to have lost Bing on line one, so let's just move right along. Okay, next up on the phone lines, we have Stan. Stan, are you there?
Hey, Nack. Stanley from Saginaw here.
Hello, Stan?
Just wanted to know, is it windy over there?
Windy? Well, it's not really. It's actually pretty
You
temperate.
know, because you got all that wind blowing from Howard Stern's ass.
God.
Baba Booey! Baba Booey!
God
Hit
damn
him
it.
with the hey!
Phone screener. Come on, seriously? The best you can do. Okay, admittedly not the best start to today's show, but all we can do is soldier on in this developing hellscape that is Donald Trump's America. Joe on line 2. Joe, are you there?
Hey, Nick.
Hello.
This is Joe in L.A., long-time caller, first-time listener. Listen, I had a question. When picking your keeper, is it better to think about, highest floor
Okay. Or?
or highest ceiling? You know what I'm saying?
Not really.
You go ahead and answer all this and off the air. Make America great again.
Okay, what I think Joe was trying to say there, folks, is, a keeper is obviously the core of your team. It's not a decision that should be made lightly, and when it comes to looking for the highest floor or the highest ceiling, I think what you really have to look for is the highest bay windows. Natural lighting is also very important for a keeper, and a lot of people neglect this very simple, proven fact. Oh, the Sam Spence NFL Films instrumental music means one thing. Time for the Week 11 reviews.
Snake Jam v. Convicts.
Cementing the only guaranteed playoff spot thus far behind a strong outing from Aaron Rodgers, the Convicts look poised for the playoffs. I guess we are spared a long-winded defense born out of crippling insecurity for at least another week. Meanwhile, dismal performances from the Snake Jam's dual tight end attack relinquishes sole position of first place in the Noodle Arm division.
Dexter's v. Functional Alcoholics.
This one came down to the wide receiver mismanagement. Weeks' top-scoring player of the week in Steve Smith Sr. didn't even get a start, while Darren left over 20 wide receiver points on the bench. In a squeaker, the hipsters find a mint copy of a Neutral Milk Hotel album on colored vinyl at the thrift store, while the alcoholics are left drinking abandoned Red Bulls and vodka at the bar, wondering what could have been.
Snake Guzzlers v. Downtown Sasquatch.
What does owner Solinger do with an empty DL spot during a week decimated with buys? If you guessed not a goddamn thing, you'd be right. Even with a kicker and a safety on his bench, the Squatch still refuses to check its fantasy football privilege, opting to let his hubris take over the empty spot instead of someone on the waiver wire. Swooping in to handily take the much-needed win is owner Simon, still hoping to steal a playoff spot in the hotly contested Noodle Arms division.
Dancers v. Phoenixes.
In the highest-scoring game of the week, the Dancers take down the Phoenixes despite yet another running back injury, this time to CJ Prosise. But behind a stellar defensive and special teams effort and an appearance from the ghosts of Greenpoint quarterbacks past, the commish proves that there are in fact still Dancers in Fort Wayne.
Olas versus Molester Band.
By this time next week, there could be 11 6-6 teams in the Kingpinks. Jim will not be one of them. This means that Jim is literally the only owner in the league who couldn't field a decent team this season. Note to Jim, play Russell Wilson and Beasley next week for fuck's sake. The Olas wasn't even in the playoff picture last week, and now it sits atop its division and number 2 seed overall. Could this be the return of the Nack? Return of the Nack.
Zombie Dads versus Wichita Wings.
In an absolute must-win scenario, Bing rode Kirk Cousins and Julian Edelman like an aging porn star, clinging desperately to relevancy. And while his team may not be as desirable as it once was, there might still be a place for the zombie dads in very specific dark corners of the internet, if it plays its cards right. The Yorks will need to expect a win against the Snake Jam next week to stay in the hunt for a playoff spot.
Ducats versus Obis Can.
All right. What is there left to say? In the past 3 weeks, Trent has lost by an average of 41.5 points. So it's not that much of a stretch to say,
You got owned.
all right, so there you have it. Very exciting Week 11 and many more developments to come as the playoff picture starts to take shape. I'm now going to open up the phone lines again to any Brandon Delaney-related questions. Oh, the phone lines are lighting up. First, let's go to Chris. Chris on line 1.
Yeah, Bordelor, I got a question. With
Okay.
the numbers 1 and 3 running backs, number 2 wide receiver, number 1 quarterback, number 5 tight end, Moncrief and Des Bryant, and the possibility of missing the playoffs, How quickly will Brandon commit seppuku when that realization sinks in?
Okay.
Side question.
Yep.
What household object will it be?
Okay. All right. Chris, this was not so much a question as it was a thinly veiled attempt at a cheap jab at one of our respected owners. Not going to fly on my show. Okay, buddy. We're just going to move on to the next caller. Okay. Line 3, we have Darren. Darren, are you there?
Hi, long-time listener, first-time caller. I just have one question. If Brandon doesn't make the playoffs this year with all the draft picks that he had in the first 4 rounds, does that make him the worst owner in the league?
Okay, look, guys. If we can't have an intelligent, well-meaning conversation, then maybe we should just go to break, okay? Enough of this petty bullshit. And now a word from our sponsor. Almost fantasy football playoff time. And when you have one of the highest scoring teams and the most draft picks ever recorded by man, you'd expect to have more wins than a team who hasn't even made the playoffs before. Oh, but sometimes that fickle mistress fate has other plans for you. Don't settle for that cheap beer you've been drinking all season. Reach for a bottle of Brandon Delaney's Greenpoint Cabernet. Made with a special blend of Brandon's own salty tears and fresh stomped sour grapes, nothing will get you down as you wait for the playoff picture to emerge. But best of all, our grapes are always in season. Wine, all the time, with Greenpoint Cabernet. Okay, and we're back. We have time for one more call. We've got Paul, the commish. Line 1. Paul, how you doing, man?
Hey, Nack. First-time caller, long-time listener.
Good to hear from you.
My question is I was wondering, of all the players to have never won a Golden Pink, who's the best?
Oh.
I'll take my answer off air. Thanks.
Well, that's actually a very well thought out question. Now, according to my research, Cam Newton and LaShawn McCoy happen to be on the most championship teams. But fun fact, Aaron Rodgers, according to my research, now I wasn't in the league the very first year of the Kingpins, but according to my research, Aaron Rodgers has never taken home the championship trophy in our league, which is crazy. Now, there was also Drew Brees, of course. He racked up the numbers over the years, and according to Pro Football Focus, never graded lower than 87.4. He pulled in a Super Bowl ring, but despite a suboptimal 2015, Aaron Rodgers actually scored their highest rating ever in 2011, a 98.6, and has actually been more consistent and healthier than Peyton Manning over that stretch. He's been a mainstay of high-scoring teams in the Kingpins over the years. Maybe this is the year Aaron Rodgers is finally on a championship team. That'll be music to newbie Chris Allen's ears. We all know where the stink pink is going, though, so Jim, you better dust off some shelf space. It's coming home, baby. Thank you for joining me on The Attack. I am Nack, and until next time, hasta lasagna, don't get any on ya.